As cliche as it is, you gotta spend money to make money, especially with Amazon. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down how you can become way more confident when you're buying products for your Amazon business. And if you're new to the channel, my name's Warner Fields from Fields of Profit. I'm a full-time 7-figure Amazon seller, and a very common mistake that I see people make when they first start out their Amazon businesses and begin to scale is not having enough confidence in their decisions that they're making. Especially when it comes to buying items, it can be really scary, especially if this is your first business, to go out and spend thousands of dollars on inventory. So in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and break down some of the things that helped me increase my confidence in my business and a couple of the next steps that you should probably take to make sure you're buying the best inventory for your Amazon business. But before we jump into that, if you want even more free resources to learn how to sell on Amazon, linked directly beneath me is our completely free Amazon seller Discord community. There's over 35,000 people in there sharing a ton of free information. Would love to see you in there, but let's go ahead and jump into the video. So with an Amazon FBA business, it is a very inventory intensive business, which means you're gonna have to spend a decent amount of money to make a decent amount of money on Amazon. Hopefully that's not really a newsflash to anyone, but especially as you're starting out, it can be really scary to go out and spend thousands of dollars. I've spent over $200,000 in the last 30 days just on random stuff to sell online, and I definitely would not have done that from the jump. So the first thing that I would recommend to you, if you're not super confident in your buying decisions yet, is to go wide, not deep. Basically what I mean by that is I want you to have as many at-bats as possible in your Amazon sourcing. You want to be able to learn a lot of lessons from the items that you're buying. So when you're starting out, you probably don't want to buy hundreds or thousands of units of certain items. It's probably going to be a lot smarter for you to go buy 5 units of this, 20 units of this, 10 units of that. And really you just want to have a bunch of at-bats, right? You want to learn a bunch of different things. And when you're buying those products, you are going to make mistakes. When you're placing these really small orders, we call them test orders. You're just trying to test the waters, see what you can learn about the product, see if it's going to be a product that's going to be good long-term. And really when you first start selling on Amazon, a lot of those test orders are going to teach you lessons that would be way more expensive if you go way deep on a product, thinking you've got a home run product. You look at it and maybe you didn't know it was a 2-pack or it's the wrong color or something like that. You can really end up in a sticky situation. So while you're still learning the process, I want to make sure you're buying wide, not deep. Make sure you have a lot of diversification in your business. But number one, you're going to open yourself up to less risk doing it this way. You're not going to be as likely to lose thousands of dollars on one particular product. And aside from the monetary gain of that, you're also going to have a lot more lessons, right? You should look at a lot of these products that you're losing money on at the start, the same as paying for a college education, right? You can't jump into selling on Amazon and immediately get every product right. I don't pick products at 100%. Still, probably no one picks products at 100% out there. But when you're first starting, your batting percentage there is going to be a lot lower than a more seasoned seller. So those mistakes are going to cost you less money, and you're also going to be able to pick up a lot of lessons along the way. And instead of just theorizing about test orders, why don't we go ahead and jump into my computer screen over here? I'll pull up a couple examples of products that we could potentially look at. We'll kind of decide what our test orders would be, and we can go from there. So I went ahead and pulled up a couple example products here. I'll be going through this a little bit quickly because I do want to touch on some more advanced topics as well. So if I do lose, you can slow down the video, do whatever you need to do there. So I'm looking at this example product right here. Basically, I just want to figure out what's a safe amount of this product for me to sell. As we can see right here, SellerAmp is telling me this item sells a bunch, selling almost 2,000 times a month. It's a 5,000 sales rank. That's a really good sales rank. And so from here, I'd need to see how much competition I have on a listing like this. For this example, let's just say we can buy this item for $7. Based on the volume and the number of sellers on here, I would say buying this for $7 would be a steal of a deal, but you'll see why that's important as we scroll down to the offers tab here. When we get down here, we're just trying to figure out how much competition we're going to have on a listing like this. So as I look down at this listing, I'm noticing number one right here, we can see on SellerAmp, and over here we can see that the person who's selling it for $16.95 actually has the buy box over a bunch of sellers who are $16.50. So one thing this does also show you is the importance of winning the buy box, not having the lowest price all the time, right? You can see this guy right here is getting plenty of sales, selling it way more expensive than 6 other FBA sellers. So make sure you're matching the buy box while you're out there sourcing products. But in this case, we want to figure out how much competition we have. In this case, it looks like we have a pretty good amount of competition on a listing like this. So this is why we do our homework, right? As I'm looking through here, I'm going to go ahead and flip on Prime only. So I'm going to count all these sellers as competitive. This guy's got the buy box right here. Anyone who's below the buy box price, I'm definitely going to be considering a competitive seller just from a standpoint of sharing sales with other sellers. So in this case, we get all the way down here to probably seller 23. I would call him not competitive. He's 50 cents more expensive than the buy box right now. And really he's $1 more expensive than the low FBA. So I would say that this is where we start to not get competitive. If we want to be extra conservative, we could go ahead and include these 3 more guys. Then the $18 price point's probably not competitive at all. So in this case, we'd be competing with 26 other sellers. In theory here, we'd be selling 1,900 sales among 26 sellers. And so that would mean we would expect to be selling about 73 units of this every single month. But obviously that's all on paper, all in theory, right? So from this point, we'd want to go ahead and get some actual test data on an item like this. So if you're a true beginner, I would say stock up for a week, maybe 2 weeks. So if we expect to sell 73 of this, I would say go ahead and buy 20 to 30, somewhere around there. That's going to give you a really good idea of how fast this item is actually selling, because basically from these test orders, we're trying to test, number 1, is this item going to tank? Am I going to lose money on it? And then number 2, we also want to test how fast the item's actually selling. So if the item does stay good and we can rebuy it again, we'll know that next time, let's say, hey, I bought 20, I sold out of them in 3 days, we can go in and buy way more than we would have expected to be able to buy, right? So a couple more examples here. Run through this real quick. I do want to touch on some more intermediate stuff for you guys as well. So right here, let's see how many competitive sellers do we have. I would honestly consider all of these guys competitive sellers. So up to $19 here. We saw on that last listing, you can win the buy box 50 cents more expensive. So I would call this competitive. I would call this competitive up to seller number 12. We can see that this guy becomes $1 more expensive, almost $1.50 more expensive than this guy right here. So we would be the competitive seller number 12 on this item, selling 384 times a month. Dividing 384 by 12 there, we're going to get 32. So that's about what we'd expect to sell on an item like this. So in this case, I would probably put your test buy somewhere around 10 units, maybe 15 units if you want to test that week to 2 weeks of stock. And then once again, if your items sell way slower, let's say you only sell those 10 units, it takes you a whole month. That's great. You can just buy 10 again. You're going to have that nice consistent stream, and you're not going to be worried about having too much inventory on this product. And then one last example here I want to show you. I'm sure you guys get the point, but just to really hammer it home. So this item's selling 80 times a month. This is an item where I might test buy even smaller. These low sales volume items tend to tank harder, right? It makes sense going back to economics class. If the price goes down, there's going to be more demand, right? But currently, while the price is high, the market has decided that only 80 people a month want to buy this product. So if the other sellers on this listing aren't selling their products fast enough, pretty much the only lever they're going to have to pull is to lower their price. And on an item where there's low sales volume, as those sellers start to lower their price to try to get that next sale, there's going to be a lot more space in between those sales. So that's going to cause more tanking compared to an item like this one that we saw it selling close to 2,000 times a month. If someone wanted to get out of their stock on this item, even if they had 100 in stock, they could lower the price and they'd be sold out within a couple days, maybe 1 day even. Comparing that to an item like this, it would take these sellers way longer to go out of stock if they desperately needed to get their funds out. So that's something we want to think about here when we're considering competitive sellers. So we've got this guy at $20.40. I would call all these guys competitive. Probably too competitive seller number 7, definitely not competitive seller number 8. So if we wanted to be extra conservative, we could call it 8 competitive sellers, including ourselves, cutting this guy off right here. So in that case, we'd be selling 10 units of this every month. Go ahead and maybe test by 5, maybe even 3. And then at that point, you have to make sure that it's even worth it to you to be prepping, worrying about a new ASIN just for 3 to 5 units, right? So as you're testing a bunch of these new products, placing small orders, making sure that the item's going to go well for you, while you're doing that, you're going to be learning a ton of lessons, as we've talked about, of course. And if you are that person who's been buying wide for a really long time, you've been in the game for a little while, maybe your sales are pretty good, maybe you're doing 20, 30K a month, probably the biggest lever you need to pull, and what's really holding back your business right now, is that you have the confidence in what you're spending on, but you just need to be spending more money on that inventory, right? So I'm going to make an educated guess, and let me know in the comments if I was talking to you right now, but you might be pretty well educated on what you're doing. You're buying good inventory, you're actually profitable, but you're finding when you're buying inventory, you're going out of stock within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you end up being out of stock for over a month. Maybe the product isn't even good anymore by the time you get to it. If that's you and you're that seller who knows what you're doing, you're stocking out on all your best products, your competitive advantage is that you know exactly how those items are going to end up for you. For my personal Amazon business, I don't really place test orders anymore. That's kind of one of my competitive advantages, is I can look at a listing, I know how much I'm going to sell, I know how much I should buy. If that's you as well, and you're just buying below what you know you should buy what you know you should buy. You're going to grow. That's honestly one of the biggest levers that I pulled to grow my business, is going from those 10 to 20 unit orders to those 100 to 200 to 500 unit orders. Obviously, you're spacing those orders out a little bit, all that good stuff. But if you're super confident in the amount of inventory you can sell on these different products, buy deeper. So be confident in yourself, and it's definitely going to pay off. If that's not you and you don't have 100% confidence or 99% confidence in the decisions you're making, that's not your competitive advantage yet. You got to keep learning, go wide, not deep, learn as as many lessons as possible so that you can build that competitive advantage, and then that's not going to be holding back your business anymore. One other thing that's going to massively increase the amount of confidence that you have in yourself as you're sourcing inventory, and I will continue to die on this hill, but it's making friends in the community, making friends with other Amazon sellers. And the reason that this is so beneficial, especially as I started making connections in the community, I was that person who kind of knew what I was doing. Like, I really should have been buying more inventory. But when I started asking friends like, hey, this item, like, how much are you buying of this? Like, seeing how much inventory those other guys were really out there buying, they're going out and buying hundreds of units of stuff. I was never doing that back in the day. And having that validation from other sellers that you're able to make those networking connections with, that's really going to push your business to the next level. You're all going to become more confident together. You're going to be able to tackle any account health issues. You're going to be able to point out specific sales sections, point out specific websites, any kind of good deals that are going on. All that kind of stuff is great to mastermind about and make sure you're growing as a community within a small little core. And if you're looking for a community, looking to network and build that core, that thing that's been so powerful in my business, I will go ahead and shamelessly plug the FBA roadmap here. We do have a channel within the private Discord community for our members, specifically dedicated to creating masterminds. I know specifically of a few groups that have just been hopping on Zoom, a couple of guys who are local who now hang out and mastermind, talk about Amazon. They're jumping on Zoom, they're helping each other grow just because of those connections that they were able to make through the FBA roadmap, jumping on our Zoom calls with the community, all that good stuff. And so if that's you and you're looking to take your Amazon business to the next level by building that core of sellers, jumping into the FBA roadmap is a great way to do it. And really the networking side is just one small part of what the FBA roadmap can do for your business. So if you want to go ahead and check out what all is included in our step-by-step guide, the link for that is going to be down below. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and got a ton of value out of it. If you did, please feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. That helps out my business for sharing some value with you guys. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, I'm always happy to answer those down below in the comment section as well. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.